of Taiwan. I'm Ethan Liu with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. A cross-party delegation of U.S. lawmakers has arrived in Taiwan for a 3-day visit. During their stay, they will meet with President Lai Ching-te, Foreign Minister Lin Jialong, and other senior officials. Talks are expected to focus on trade investment and regional security. The group is led by Representative Yang Kim of California, a firm supporter of Taiwan in Congress. Top U.S. trade officials say they urge China's vice premier to honor commitments on rare earths and agricultural goods. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said on social media that he and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer had spoken to Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng. Bessent said Washington wants a more, quote, balanced and fair economic relationship. Chinese state media said Beijing raised serious concerns over U.S. trade restrictions and that both sides agreed to expand cooperation and build a positive trade relationship. It marks the first direct talks between He, Bessent, and Greer since U.S. President Donald Trump met with Chinese President Xi Jinping in May. The two leaders are expected to meet again in September. Taiwan has been stepping up efforts to develop drones for national defense. And recent examples have shown how uncrewed systems can help counter larger, more conventional military threats. But as Ellen Lu reports, a special budget for drones in the legislature remains up in the air.
Uncrewed surface vessels, or USVs, simulates the explosion of a target boat during a demonstration in southern Taiwan. Taiwanese drone maker Thunder Tiger showcased a swarm operation using 2 of its Sea Shark USVs, powered by Shield AI's HiveMind autonomous software. Swarm tactics use AI to enable multiple surface drones to operate as a unit. The vessels can conduct distributed reconnaissance or launch saturation attacks against larger enemy warships, creating an asymmetric advantage.
当然，我们台湾四面环海啊，这个要来那个关照的区域非常的广大啊，所以这种蜂群的一个战略哦，以及这个 AI 自主这个无人，好，就像我们今天看到的这样子，是多平台可以这个多功能。
By combining and integrating software onto these hardware platforms, we are seeing a great return of investment because it offers better options for the decision makers whenever there are decisions to be made.
A group of Taiwanese lawmakers recently visited the Navy's newly established Littoral Combatant Command, which is designed to strengthen Taiwan's coastal defense capabilities. The new command also places an emphasis on integrating drones for surveillance and target acquisition. While both the government and private sector are investing heavily in drone technology, debate continues over how much Taiwan should spend on these systems. This has prompted President Lai Ching-te's call to greenlight a special budget of up to $6.5 billion to procure drones and USVs through the end of 2031.
规划筹购滨海尖针型、滨海攻击型无人机以及小型自杀无人艇。我要再次呼吁立法院朝野各党团。 以国家安全为优先，支持行政院所提版本。
A California-based drone company says one of its USVs recently sailed inside the Philippines' exclusive economic zone and captured close-up footage of a Chinese guided missile destroyer. The incident highlights how a small drone boat costing a few $100,000 can get close to and potentially threaten a warship worth billions. Fu Huahong and Ellen Lu for TaiwanPlus.
Australia has become the top lender in the Pacific, replacing China in the post-pandemic era. That's according to new findings by the Lowy Institute. Australia also remains the top provider of aid to the region, having spent about $1.5 billion throughout the Pacific in 2024. They accounted for 37% of all aid in the area. While China's loans to Pacific nations are tapering off, its programs in the region are shifting towards gifting smaller grants into sectors like health and education. To find out more about Beijing's diplomatic priorities in the region, Leslie Liao spoke with Graham Smith from Australian National University.
It's recently come out that Australia has replaced China as the top lender to Pacific nations amid declining loans from Beijing. Now, what do you make of this?
I mean, Australia has always been way ahead of China in lending in the Pacific. What's notable is since about 2016, China's aid to the region kind of peaked and has gradually been going down ever since, whereas Australia's outlays have, largely either stayed the same or gone up a little bit.
Does this shift signal any change in Beijing's diplomatic strategy for the Pacific, or is it indicative of declining influence in the region?
It's indicative of Beijing not having as much foreign reserves to throw around as it used to have to throw around. And that's why it dates back to 2016. So they've faced basically a sell-off of the RMB between 2015 and 2016, which meant they went from having a surplus of around about 7 trillion to a much more modest surplus in sort of foreign exchange terms or in foreign reserve terms. What you can extrapolate is that now when China gives a loan, it's much more thought out than it was in the past. So if a country is receiving loans, you can be sure that this is a much clearer signal than in the past when it was much more scattergun. So they are in many ways a better indicator of where a country is in terms of China's priorities. Whereas if you look back to, say, 2009, when the money was just flying out the door, every Pacific nation was getting showered in these concessional loans, and that led to quite a substantial amount of debt, which is another reason why they've pulled back, because the narrative of debt trap diplomacy has been very effective, and they don't really want to be seen to be giving these big concessional loans anymore.
The Pacific is home to a good chunk of Taiwan's 12 remaining diplomatic allies. Now, amid this trend where Beijing is lending less to Pacific nations, are there any implications for Taiwan diplomatically in the region?
I mean, it does, on the surface of it, offer an opportunity for Taiwan. But if you look at the Lowy data, which is where you've got your information from, you'll find that Taiwan has slipped out of the top 10 donors in the region. It used to be well up there in the top 10 because it had more allies. What's happened is, as Taiwan has lost allies, the funding has just been withdrawn. It hasn't been reallocated to the existing allies or reallocated to the region as a whole, which might have been a kind of arguably a better holding strategy for Taiwan in the region to, okay, you're losing your bilateral partners, but maybe give the money regionally to maintain some sort of influence. And generally speaking, that hasn't been done.
That was Graham Smith from Australia National University. A pro-China unification party could be facing extinction as Taiwan's government makes historic moves to dissolve it over national security concerns. Reese Ayers reports.
A political party is facing an existential crisis here in Taiwan as the Interior Ministry prepares to file a petition with the Constitutional Court to dissolve the Pro-Beijing Chinese Unification Promotion Party, or CUPP.
The filing, which also includes evidence from foreign sources, says the party has long been involved in organized crime, and its connections to China endanger national security, social stability, and the integrity of elections in Taiwan. It also cites key members being implicated in violations of 7 laws, including the National Security and Anti-Infiltration Acts. Officials say the party serves as a cover for gang operations, pointing to over 100 members investigated or arrested for organized crime or taking Chinese funds to influence elections and build covert networks in Taiwan.
我们认为已经危害中华民国的存在，而且它长期的统促党长期是系统性的组织性的犯罪，危害到自由民主的宪政秩序，而且也危害到我们社会稳定跟选举的公正性。
The ministry first moved to dissolve the party in 2025, but the case was stalled after legal changes left the Constitutional Court without enough justices to hear cases. Although a subsequent ruling allowed the court to resume operations, the decision itself remains controversial, and any ruling could face political scrutiny. After over a year of collecting evidence, the case will finally be submitted. TaiwanPlus was unable to contact the CUPP for comment, though they have previously framed attempts to dissolve them as political persecution. If the courts accept the case and choose to dissolve, the CUPP would become the first ever political party disbanded in this way.
It could set a landmark precedent for the legal boundaries of Taiwan's democratic defense, as the government seeks to address concerns over foreign influence and interference. Alex Chen and Reese Ayers in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
The CUPP has since condemned the move, saying the ruling Democratic Progressive Party is abusing its power to target a legally registered political party. Taiwan has officially recognized a Pingpu Plans indigenous group for the first time. Premier Jerome Tai made the announcement at a Taipei ceremony to Siraya people in attendance.
我已经在行政院的院会正式的代表行政院宣布，西拉雅族是台湾正式的原住民族。
恭喜西拉雅族终于回家了。
Siraya is the largest Plains group in southern Taiwan and has historically assimilated into Han Chinese and Japanese communities. The group has been working to revive its language and fought for legal recognition for the past 2 decades. After the top court ruled its exclusion from Taiwanese laws unconstitutional in 2022, a separate law now allows each Pingpu Plains group to determine who qualifies as a member of its group. The cabinet has now approved Siraya's identity rules.
喜拉雅文化协会呢，它其实在之前有召开民族的大会所以在大会上形成高度的共识一致通过哈。那我们知道原住民族群的这个法定上的法律有400多条100-200部的法律，那我们现在只有获得3部法律。 这个法把它修得齐全，让它能够完整的一个权利上的一个恢复。
The Council of Indigenous Peoples says the Siraya people will be able to register for legal status starting in mid-August. A number of artificial intelligence firms from across the country are gathering in Taipei for the WAVE AI exhibition, an event to show off their latest tech. And Taiwan is showcasing itself as a leader in sports technology innovation. Lila Martina was there.
We're here at the WAVE AI exhibition in Taipei, where companies from across Taiwan's AI sector are coming together. And one of the key themes this year is how AI is helping athletes train smarter. The Taiwan Institute of Sports Science is using AI to transform training. Its platform analyzes footage and turns it into data both coaches and athletes can use.
那传统上当然就是必须要用教练，然后他直接用2个人看影片，然后口述嘛的方式去跟所谓的选手去做沟通。但是这个技术来讲，他们是完全是透过深度学习的方式去侦测到球，还有球棒，以及我们去画出它的一些轨迹，相对的一些轨迹。
The technology is also being tested in shooting sports, delivering more accurate results to athletes than what traditional metrics could give.
平常我们在看射击的时候，可能单纯只有看到成绩的一个部分。那我们透过这个模拟器，我们就可以去看到更多射击上面一些技术上面的一些细节。那这些数据提供给运动员，让他们在做一些技术上面的一些调整，可以有一些数据上面的依据。
And it's innovations like these that are catching the eyes of government officials. Taiwan's National Development Council pledged to support its startup ecosystem.
我们希望说，在今天可以看到很多非常具备活力的新创公司那也再次讲一下，就是说所有的AI 新创产业，你如果在创立资料、人才、行销和资金上有任何需要帮助的地方，随时跟我们说话分享。
Through combining cash, regulation, and talent, the government is hoping to help these worthy startups move from ideas to the global market. And officials hope that developments like these will help position Taiwan as a developer of AI that impacts a wide variety of industries. Justin Wu and Lila Martina in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today we leave you with images of surfers riding the waves at the Wingfoil World Cup in Spain. I'm Ethan. Take care, and I'll see you next time.